You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
We're back. We're talking about trash. It's a big issue. We generate about 438 tons of trash a day in New Hanover County, and each of us generate about 4.6 pounds of trash a day, each of us. So it's an issue that needs some attention. Originally, the New Hanover County Commission was set to vote on the incinerator and its future. Originally, when, Bill?
Well, about the time they wrapped up their study. What's that, 2 months ago or something?
Yeah. You finished your study 2 months ago?
Yeah.
And you made recommendations to the county. And what happened?
Well, we got in our discussion in the county commissioners, and I could see that there wasn't certainly 3 of us out of the 5 that were willing to do what the S.W.A.B recommended. So at that meeting, and Buck was there, we discussed where we should go, and I made a recommendation that we put out an RFP, a request for proposals, let all the companies who have a great interest in doing this come in and tell us how they would handle it.
How they would handle disposing solid waste
in New Hanover County, including recycling. That RFP is being prepared as we speak. Well, not as we speak, but we're going to hire a consultant, unfortunately, because it's a pretty complicated process to put an RFP together, request for proposal
from these
that tells people what we expect them to do: landfill, waste energy facility, construction debris, and recyclables.
So the fate of the incinerator is not it's still open.
It's exactly
we don't
right.
know.
And then there are some of those companies again have connections within their company that run other waste facilities.
Would some of them include Waste Tech in their proposal?
Well, we'll see. But I know that they have within their companies they have other waste energy facilities.
Isn't it somewhat irresponsible to bank on landfill for the future?
Well, here's an example that we discovered in the process of this study.
Whether it's
there
in
are
the county
companies
or not.
out there that say we can bring over bugs and put into your landfill that same kind of things that takes care of solid waste, and it'll go in there and it'll eat it and reduce it 30–40%.
You buy that?
Well, I've heard it before, and Bill's,
right.
When you start these things, Don, all kind of ideas come out. Yeah. And back in the late 70s and early 80s, when we were dealing with it as a board of commissioners, we had those same proposals. Now, I don't know whether anybody's really, there's probably some place that they're in operation in a minor way, but to me, as a citizen and as a member of the advisory board, Waste Tech, the community has said that Waste Tech is an integral part, is the key to managing waste in this county. And it's
burning.
That reduces
waste.
It anywhere, depending on who you talk to, 65 to 85% of what has to be landfill to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. So that is, in my opinion, has got to be an integral part of that.
Well, at a time when the Titan cement controversy is raising a lot of concern about air quality, what kind of opposition might there be to burning more toxic trash, particularly plastic?
The facility, whatever it burns, has to meet the federal and state air quality standards, and it does. It's one of the cleanest facilities in the county.
Well, that's such a relative term because my reading is it's the second largest emitter of toxic gas. Now that may be way below the highest emitter.
Well, when you use the word toxic, aspirin's toxic. So that's kind of a term that is associated to me with instant death. But I understand what you're saying, Don. I'm all for clean air.
Yeah.
And the facility.
The point is, it meets the standards that are in place now.
Right.
And it has, as those standards have been tightened up, even since I've been a commissioner, it has met those standards.
Would upgrading?
That was part of what the maintenance set aside was years ago, was so that as the quality standards for air emissions and for those types of things were increased, that there'd be funds to do the best available technology to keep the air quality where it should be.
All right, so if a company comes in and says, we want to use, and you accept their proposal, we want to use Waste Tech as part of the solution to our solid waste issues, would it need to be upgraded?
Yeah, I would certainly be.
Now,
yeah.
would that be something done by referendum, or would the private hauler be?
Private. If the private hauler wants to do it, they'll do it.
Do you think anybody's going to come in and commit to something like that?
We'll see. Maybe they can do that. Again, because of maybe experiences within their organization. We've got, I think it's $9 million projected over the next 3 years to put into Waste Tech, if we keep it, to bring it up to speed.
Will that do it? $9 million?
That's what we've been told.
That was to bring it up to operating standards as it should be.
So that you could use it at capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
Continually?
The thing that happened was that the opportunity after the lawsuit was settled on the waste haulers and that type of thing, and then the courts ruled that the counties and cities could have flow control, that the disposal rate could have been raised. But it wasn't. It was held at a low rate. If it had been, I think we had looked at figures, if it had been put back at what had been recommended of $60 a ton, there would have been, over the last 7 or 8 years, about $17, $18 million had generated in that fund to take care of maintenance.
If it had been working at capacity.
Right, if it had been raised.
I'm just curious, we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
The commissioners came to you, they put you at the head of this board that studied this issue and said, please make recommendations. And then they go, well, let's keep looking. Did it bother you that you went through this entire exercise and then they didn't take your recommendations?
Well, it did bother me because I've sat on that side of the table. And
Buck has been a county
He's been there.
And as I was told by one of the commissioners, you don't get to vote on this. But, and I said, yes, but I do get to vote in the election. But, so what we tried to do was do what we felt the community, New Hanover County wanted. Not based on cost alone, but what they wanted, an integrated program, and present that in facts to support that to the elected officials so that they can say, okay, this is not a pipe dream of 5 people, this is what New Hanover County wants.
We're out of time. Thank you, Buck O'Shields.
Thank you,
Commissioner Castor.
Pleasure.
To catch Byline online, go to WILM-TV.com. I'm Don Ansell for Byline Wilmington. You have a great week.
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning at 11 as we explore the issues that concern you.